It is a scam when you don't allow everyone to operate on fair terms.
We are the Robin Hoods of sports betting. We take something back from the rich bookies and enable our customers to beat them instead.
Manchester City versus Tottenham, probably the game of the round in the EPL this week. I will get my screen up with the odds, but you have very short prices for Manchester City here. You can get best odds of about 1.34, 1.35. The draw is at around sixes, maybe a little bit less than that in a few places, and Tottenham as high as 9.5, 9.6, those kind of prices there. Man City now on a 10-game win streak after that big win over Liverpool last weekend. They are well and truly running away with the title at the moment. But interestingly enough, I'm pretty sure the last time these two sides played each other, at least in the EPL, Tottenham came away with a 2-0 victory, didn't they, George?
Yeah, they certainly did. I mean, City dominated the entire game, but at that point, they were still kind of defensively, not solid as they are now. And it was like literally about 2 or 3 attacks they had the entire game, but they were clinical as they were sort of at the beginning of the season, the early stages. But yeah, so they won 2-0. City couldn't break them down. They were very, very solid. But obviously, the stories for many teams, to be fair, since then to now has changed dramatically, and none so more than Spurs, you could argue. So I think with this one though, I've looked at the price of City, and I think it all depends on who's available, because you've got Ruben Diaz, who missed out Swansea with a bug. He had a slight fever, problems with his stomach, and he's a doubt here. As is Rodri, he's a potential doubt. And if Rodri doesn't play, that means Gundogan's going to have to drop potentially deeper. So, it's kind of mixing the team around quite a bit, and it's messing with, they always say, don't fix that which isn't broken. And obviously, we've got no choice here. If we're missing those players, we're going to have to move it around a bit. And you sort of wonder, could that kind of mess with the fluidity that we've seen from Manchester City over recent weeks? So again, it will depend on team use. But also, you look at the Spurs, they obviously just coming off extra time against Everton midweek, which was just a ridiculously good game to watch as a neutral. A lot of poor defending going on, they'll have to say. But yeah, so obviously they're coming off the back of that. Not as much rest as City. Obviously, City got the extra 24 hours. So I still think that City price, even as a City fan, I'm trying to look at it without my blue tinted specs on. But that price is ridiculously low, even regardless of the records. For me, it's all about who plays. If Diaz plays and if Rodri play, then this is a formality. I think City win easy. But if they're not available, it'd be interesting to see who takes their spots.
Well, I've just gone a bit further away and looked at the goal line here, and I can guarantee where Big Nigel wants to go here, because once again we've got a big game, which have been notoriously low scoring between the if you got a game between the big 6 clubs this season, and then once again I would guess they've got the line at about over under 3 goals, because you can get under 2.5 goals here as at high of a 2.35 on the exchanges at the moment. So I reckon old Nigel will be licking his lips on that one.
But that's a good point.
I would do. Sorry, George.
Oh no, I was just saying, 6 of City's last 7 home games have seen under 2.5, but they've been against teams that are going there thinking, well, we're just going to sit back. We're not trying to get them on the counter. We're going to sit back, and it's been difficult.
But isn't that what Tottenham will do?
But Tottenham, regardless of what they are, I don't think. Yes, Mourinho, that's what he wants to do, but I still think they'll try and play a bit. I still think they'll be playing more than a lot of other teams have done when they've come to the Etihad. So I think there'll be more gaps to exploit. But again, it's a tricky one, because for me, it's all about who plays. It's all about the team, because if the team has to get reshaped, players coming in positions they're not used to playing in recent weeks, I'll probably look at it a bit differently.
Your thoughts, Nige?
I think the line of the total goals, I would be looking to go under rather than over. But I think it's a very, very difficult Premier League card this week. There's only one bet in the Premier League that I actually really like, which we'll come on to a bit later. The rest of them, I think there's really, really some difficult matches. If you ask the straw poll of 100 people or bettors, how many people would win this game, I'd probably say 95% of them would turn around and say Tottenham. But then ask them, would you back them at 2 to 7, 1.25 or 1.22, that kind of price, people would turn around and say no chance. I would definitely go unders if Harry Kane wasn't in the side. because obviously Tottenham are a completely different side with Harry Kane, not only for the goals he scores, but obviously the goals he creates. And obviously him and Son are the best partnership probably offensively in the Premier League. And, whenever they just sort of telepathic, which they are the goal threat. Last year, earlier in the season, it was 2-0. Tottenham drew 2-2 here last season, and Tottenham also won 2-0. So they've been a team that they've had problems with before. And you remember, obviously, Tottenham famously knocked Man City out of the Champions League in a classic game, which was 4-3. I don't think Manchester City have to go gun-ho to win the title. They could just cruise through now, I believe, in first gear and just win games 1-2-0. If you look at Man City's fixtures, their next 5 or 6 games are big. They've got some big matches. They've got, I think, Manchester United, haven't they? I think they've got Arsenal. Yeah, and then they've got the Champions League game as well. And with a team that's got some key injuries to De Bruyne and obviously Aguero, obviously, and of the 2 players that George has mentioned there, it just wouldn't surprise me to see Man City win this 1-2-0, get the job done, and just go get another 3 points. And if they go 2-0 up with half hour to go or 25 minutes to go, I can see them bringing off some key players that need a bit of a rest and bringing on some of the players, which they've got some star-studded players on the bench as well. But I don't see them going all out to win this game. I wouldn't be surprised to see Man City win 1-0, 2-0, which would bring in the under 2.5 goals. But really a very tentative, small lean towards under 2.5 goals.
How much would Ruben Diaz being out affect that, Tottenham's ability to score goals, George?
Well, I mean, again, you might laugh for saying it, but everyone's been saying how badly Liverpool have missed Van Dijk. It's no different for us with Ruben Diaz. It's been that quick, his impact on the side. Defensively, he is, he's barking orders, he's organising, he's dragging people where he wants them. He's the one putting his body on the line. He is so integral to that City defence. And John Stones, even, I was watching an interview and, he said since Ruben Diaz come in, he's not just built a partnership on the pitch, they get on really well. Then, they learn how to play with each other. So it's kind of, you take one of those out and it's going to be, we've already seen it when, a couple of players have missed out, whether it be one or the other, and it's just not been quite the same. I think if Ruben Diaz is unavailable for this game, I still think City will be relatively solid, but I think Tottenham will have chances against us, just purely because we'll be missing that organisational ability from Diaz. I think he's not obviously well known at the moment, but I think it will soon, in the same way that David Silva went years of only City fans saying how excellent he was, best player in the Premier League, and everyone was, it was all right, but he's nowhere near as good as that. And it was only in the latter years people realised just how good and how important he was to that Man City side. And I think it'll be similar with Diaz. And I think eventually when you do miss him, you'll see just how important he is. So, yeah, it's massive. If he plays in this game, I just as Nigel said, I think it will be a 1 or a 2-0 victory. I don't think they'll go all out for it, and I think they'll keep the clean sheet. But if he's not there, I think there'll be chances. So, again, for me, depending on whether Diaz plays or not, for me, if he doesn't play, I'd probably be leaning towards the overs, if I'm honest, because Spurs will get chances. But if he plays, just that organisational skill that he has and that impact that he has on that defence, if he plays, I'd lean towards the unders.
Yeah. And how sure are you about his injury at the moment? Do you think he's what kind of percentage, do you know any percentage chance he is of playing? Or?
Well, it just says he's obviously going to have a late fitness test, might be. But even Pep was asked after the Swansea game, where's Diaz? And then that's when he said, and they said, is he going to be available for Saturday? And he was like, no idea. So if he doesn't know, I haven't got a clue. But I know he's going to face a late test.